This is our VersaNotcher. It is a hole saw tubing notcher, so it's driven by a hand drill, and it can clamp in your bench vise or on a cart like you see here. The coolest thing about this tool is rigidity. It has a full ring of steel around where you're cutting with the hole saw, which is where the cause of all the chatter and vibration is in the tool. It has oilite bronze bushings in both halves of the frame at both pivots with case-hardened steel axles going through, so it is an extremely smooth operation for pivot adjustment. Loosen these two cam locks. These have aluminum handles on them, and you can adjust your angle. It goes on the back side here to 95 degrees, and then it goes all the way past 90, and then continues on to do 30 degrees of over travel for a total of 120 degrees in this direction. The point of all this over travel is so you can always feed the machine from one side, and if you're doing something large and wide like a B-pillar on a roll cage, you will never be tempted to try and put that B-pillar through the ground. So this will do all the notching that you need to do for all of your chassis work and other projects. It also has a broad range of offset adjustment. So the offset can go up and down from centerline. Most notchers out there use shims and only shim up. They cannot go down. The purpose, of course, of the offset adjustment is to match the bends that you can notch. Most notchers can't notch on a bend. If they can, they usually can't do it easily or well. So this is really awesome because it allows you to line up with your offset or curved notches in both directions relatively quickly and easily. That adjustment is done with just an Allen screw on the back side here. There's 4 of them. And this offset adjustment tells you roughly how much you're offset, and it is milled into the frame. It's not laser etched, so it will never wear off. Speaking of milled and never going to wear off, the angle scale is the same way. It is actually milled into the frame. And this shaft mounts at the end to the hole saw with an arbor. This is a heat treated and of course zinc plated piece of 4140 chromoly, and they're made here in the USA, of course, like this great tool is. And they attach to your hole saws using the same threads that every other hole saw uses. And you may notice that we've increased the size of the frame on this tool since the last video you probably saw. They now fit 3-inch deep hole saws. The standard depth of a hole saw is only 1.5 inches of cutting depth. That's because that's how deep a 2x4 is, which is wonderful if you're a contractor and terrible if you're a metal worker. So these guys we have in stock now, and they will notch on a 45-degree angle without ever having that material hit the back of the hole saw and stop your forward progress on a notch, requiring you to pick up the old grinder with a cutoff wheel and knock that chunk out of the way. This is 1 3/4 083. It's really hard to cut because it's chromoly and it's actually thinner than the space between the hole saw blades, so it's a good challenge to cut. And a good example. We're going to start with the standard depth hole saw. This notch was done right at the very end, but you can see, no matter what I do, it's going to keep hitting the back end of that hole saw until I go remove that material. There's no way to finish that off, and if I had a shallower notch, it would be even worse. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the other one. As you can see, we still have plenty of room left on this hole saw before we'd run out of depth. You can cut all the way to the back of them. And this makes it so this can always be removed with your notcher instead of with your grinder. And that is a very nice looking notch done without the aid of a grinder at all.